Hi, I'm Meg with Cook with Meg, and today I'm in the kitchen with you, and we are going to make a peach crumble. Now I have my recipe. Cook with Meg, we always have our recipe handy, so you will see me glancing at it. It's the roadmap to our beautiful recipe today. I do have my oven preheating to 375 degrees, which is what we want, a nice hot oven. And I've got a 9x9, you can use 8x8 or 9x9 baking dish for the crumble. I have it sprayed with a little non-stick spray. Of course, the star of the show are peaches. If you've got in-season peaches, perfect. You can use peach, you can use pear, you can use apple, you can use strawberries, berries. Really what I'm getting at is we're picking a fruit that's in season. Now, having said that, could you use canned fruit? 100% you can. Whether you call it a cobbler, a crumble, a crisp, what other things do they call it? A slump, a grunt. There are wild names for it. Really just depends on the method on how we prepare it and what the topper is like. So for today, we're doing a crumble. And the crumble today is going to be a fruit bottom with a crispy, buttery, sugary topper. So sometimes you can do one that's like a batter or almost a biscuit dough. So a cobbler is baked usually with a batter, biscuit, or dumpling topper. A crisp and a crumble are similar. They're not quite the same, but they've got more of a crumbly brown sugar, floury, sometimes oat topping, crisp and crumbles. We're doing a crumble today. Whatever you want to call it, they are delicious. They're easy to put together, and it starts with some fruit. So I've got this is about 5 large peaches that I have sliced. I washed them and I sliced them, but you will see I'm keeping the skin on the peach. I'm perfectly comfortable with doing that. But then we need to add some sugar. So let's go ahead and let's add in some white granulated plain old sugar. We're gonna do a 1/2 cup of sugar, which seems like a lot, but again, we want to really bring out the juicy, delicious sweetness that comes in the peaches. So we've got some sugar. Now, if you were, excuse me, having this sit for a while, I would also get you to squeeze just a little bit of lemon juice. We're not doing it today. This is going right in the oven, but even a 1/2 teaspoon of lemon juice will brighten it up, and it will prevent your peaches once they're cut from browning. Really important if you're doing an apple crumble or an apple crisp to do a little bit of lemon juice. I'm gonna add some vanilla, just a teaspoon of vanilla extract. So delicious. And actually, let's put this stuff back here. I always put my ingredients that I've used already, excuse me, on the back counter. Just a reminder so I don't forget and use them a second time. All right, now we're gonna go in with a little bit of cinnamon. Peaches, cinnamon, delicious, warm, yummy. Just about a 1/4 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. It doesn't need to be very much. And I always will add a tiny pinch of salt. Even if it's a sweet recipe, I'm gonna go in with just a teeny bit of salt, really small amount, and we'll also put a little bit in our crisp topping. But now that we've got the base of this, I mean, it could not be easier. This is one of those recipes that you can literally get together and get into the oven right before you go to have supper or dinner. The longer you would leave the peaches in the sugar, they would do something, it's a term we use when we talk about berries mainly, but it's macerate. What the sugar will do is it will start to draw the juices out of the fruit. Now, we won't really have a whole lot of time to do that sitting, but that will happen in the oven. So a greased baking dish. Let's get our peaches down into the bottom of the dish. We definitely want this vanilla cinnamon sugar to get scattered. Amazing. And you know what? Normally, I end up using a bigger bowl, but today I think I'm gonna use the same bowl for my topper. So we kind of spread the peaches out. You want them in a nice, even layer. We'll push that away. Always have clean hands in the kitchen. And if you find that you excuse me, spill something on your cupboard or on your counter, just take a moment, wipe it up. We really want to get into a nice good habit of keeping the kitchen area tidy and clean. Did I mention our oven is 375 degrees? It's heating up now. And you know what? I am going to use the same bowl. Look at that, 1 bowl dessert. We can take this guy and put this away. We don't even need it. Now we're going to make the topping. So the topping is basically something to crisp for the crisp or the crumble. We want something to crisp up and then crumble as we cut down into the peaches. So we will start with all-purpose flour. We are going to need 1 cup of all-purpose flour. I've got my ½ cup handy, so I'm going to use that. I'm getting down to the end of my flour here. Put that down in the bowl. We're going to need a refill. There we go. 1 cup, just regular all-purpose flour. If you were in a gluten-free household, you could also use a gluten-free flour. That would totally work. And then I like to amp mine up with a ½ cup of oats. So here's my directive for you. There we go. If you would prefer to not use oats, you can do 1½ cups of flour and skip the oats. I like doing mostly flour with some oats, so I have done 1 cup of flour and a ½ cup of oats. Now my oats today happen to be large flake oats. It doesn't matter as long as you're not using a steel cut oat. So a rapid, quick oat, a 5-minute oat, an instant oat, or a large flake oat will all work. All right, so we've got in our bowl flour, we have oats. We're gonna go back and grab a little more cinnamon, and because my little measuring spoon got wet, give it a dry. You never want to put something wet down into something that was dry, especially spices or flour. So we're just adding a little bit more cinnamon. We're adding a 1/4 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. So now you're going to get a little bit of cinnamon bite in each level of our peach crumble. We've got it in the peaches. We also have it in the crumble part. And I'm going to do just a ½ teaspoon of salt. You can decrease the salt in this portion if you are using salted butter. And that's what I'm holding in my hand now. That's the last ingredient for the topper. We need a ½ cup or 1 stick of melted butter. You can use margarine as well. Mine happens to be salted today, and so I went a little light on the salt that I was adding. Obviously, we don't want this to become salty, but we want to bring out the flavors. Now there's 1 more ingredient for the topper. We need to add some sugar, and we're going to go in with brown sugar today. So let me grab my brown sugar. We are going to do a ½ cup of brown sugar. We want the flavor of the molasses and the texture of the molasses to really make its way. That was not quite a ½ cup. There we go. We want the flavor of the molasses that's in brown sugar to really make its way through this crumble topper. So let's recap what's in the bowl. We have a ½ cup of melted butter. We have 1 cup of all-purpose flour, a ½ cup of oats. My oats happen to be a large flake oat. We've got a pinch of salt. We've got some cinnamon. Your recipe you will have. Now, I want to draw your attention to this. Can you see this little big lump? What happens with brown sugar is brown sugar, again, has molasses. It's actually granulated white sugar with molasses added. If you ever really wanted to get super adventurous in the kitchen, you can make your own brown sugar. So what happens is the moisture from the molasses sometimes forms these clumpy bumps. And so what we need to do is just get in there with your hands and kind of break them up. So there is my topper. There are my peaches. And the really easy, fun way to get this happening is literally sprinkle it on top. I've often been asked, what if we had more peaches? Would you need to alter the amount of the topper? Your answer for that is pretty much no, because as you'll see, this is quite a bit of topper. So if you wanted to add even more peaches, if you wanted to bake this in a bigger baking dish, you absolutely could. What will happen is this is gonna go into the oven. It's gonna cook for almost an hour. We're gonna go 45 to 50 minutes in a preheated 375 degree oven. And what's going to happen is that butter is going to melt, that sugar will melt with the heat, the peaches are going to start to cook. The flour, and to some extent the oats and the sugar, are actually going to help thicken this. So it's gonna create a caramel, it's gonna create a sauce. It's going to be epic. And there it is, couldn't be easier. That's gonna go into my preheated oven, 375, 45 to 50 minutes. We are looking for bubbly, we're looking for golden, we're looking for those little pockets to look crumbly. If you notice around the 40-minute mark that things are starting to look quite dark, it's probably time to take it out. The peaches do not need to be total mush. They need to still have a little bit of texture. So we're gonna pop it in the oven right around 35, 40 minutes. I'm gonna start to look at it and we'll meet you back here when it's totally cooked. See you in a bit. Hello friends, we are back. May I present to you the most epic peach crumble ever. Buttery, bubbling, come closer, bubbly, caramelized, peaches poking through. This, as much as I hate to say, has to come to warm temperature. It would be way too hot to eat now. I want to eat mine with a scoop of vanilla ice cream. It's really good even in the morning with a little dollop of yogurt, but on its own, it's pure summer perfection. Please enjoy, and for more with me, cookwithmeg.com. Until next time, we will see you soon, and happy cooking. Bye everyone.